Battle Through the Heavens. Chapter 73. The first successful refining of a basic healing medicine. With the Crimson Cauldron finally ignited, Xiaoyan's arduous journey into alchemy has truly begun. However, the initial spark was only the beginning of a far more taxing trial for his body and spirit. As the heat intensifies within the secluded cave, he must now push his meager dou qi to its absolute limit to refine his very first medicine.
Flames clawed at the stone walls of the narrow cave, casting distorted shadows that danced with every flicker from the cauldron. Xiaoyan did not look away. He stared into the rising heat, his pupils fixed. Sweat rolled down his pale forehead in thick beads, soaking his collar. His dou qi was a shallow pool, and the low-level Huang technique he practiced was a blunt tool that couldn't keep up with the demand. Holding out for 2 hours had pushed his body to the limit. Xiaoyan watched the ngunghui tao inside the cauldron break down into a fine white powder. Yao Lao saw the boy's shoulders trembling and gave a small nod.
"Rest for a moment,"
he said.
"You have reached your limit."
Xiaoyan let his breath out in a rush. His shoulders slumped and his strength vanished. He collapsed onto the cold stone floor, gasping for air. His chest heaved and his muscles felt like lead. He couldn't move a single finger.
"Now is the best time to cultivate,"
Yao Lao said, his voice flat and calm. Xiaoyan let out a low groan of protest, but he forced himself to sit up. His hands shook as he formed the cultivation seals. He shut his eyes and began to draw in energy. Yao Lao looked at the dozen jade boxes lined up near the cauldron. Each one held the white powder Xiaoyan had extracted. In the first box, the powder was a dull off-white. By the last box, the color was pure and sharp. Yao Lao smiled to himself. The boy's spiritual power was even stronger than he had expected. Xiaoyan sat for an hour. The dim glow of his internal energy began to brighten, shining with more intensity than it had before the exhaustion set in. He opened his eyes and felt the numbness leave his limbs. He stood up and stretched, his bones popping with a satisfying crack.
"You look ready,"
Yao Lao said.
"Keep going."
Xiaoyan gave a bitter laugh. He realized now that Yao Lao had made this look too easy. When the old man refined medicine, it was a casual wave of the hand and a flash of fire. Doing it himself was more exhausting than digging for ore in a mountain mine. He sat back down before the cauldron and focused. With the experience from the ngunghui tao, the next steps went faster. He burned through 10 antuqua and 8 huathiqua, carefully extracting the essence of each. The huathiqua turned into small black granules that helped blood flow. The antuqua became a pale red liquid, a potent sedative to kill pain. 3 different materials sat in front of him. Yao Lao leaned in.
"Now, merge them."
Xiaoyan took a deep breath. He tossed the white powder into the cauldron first. He kept the flame at a steady medium heat for 10 minutes until the powder turned a faint pink. Then he poured in the liquid from the antuqua. The liquid wrapped around the powder, and the two merged into a thick, rose-colored paste. He used his spiritual power to watch the heat. Under the constant pressure of the flame, the paste thickened into a dark red sludge. Xiaoyan hesitated for a second, then dropped the black huathiqua granules into the mix. The black bits hit the sludge, and sat there. They did not melt. They did not blend.
Every ingredient reacts to the fire differently.
Yao Lao warned.
You have to split your mind. Cool the flame in one spot, stoke it in the other.
Xiaoyan licked his dry lips. He poured his focus into the fire, trying to wrap a hotter thread of flame around the black granules while keeping the rest of the cauldron steady. His head throbbed from the effort. The fire flared. Without the suppression of his mind, the heat spiked and instantly turned half of the black granules to ash. Xiaoyan felt a cold jolt of panic. He forced himself to stay calm and pulled the heat back. It was a brutal test of focus. His forehead dripped with fresh sweat, but he didn't blink. He poured the last of his dou qi into the cauldron's vents. Inside, the black granules finally fractured and dissolved. The black powder bled into the red sludge, darkening the color. Xiaoyan pulled his hands away. The flames inside the cauldron died down to nothing. He sat there, lungs burning, as Yao Lao reached out. The cauldron flew into the old man's hand. The dark red sludge rose out of the pot, floating in the air and filling the cave with a heavy, medicinal scent. Yao Lao flicked his fingers. The large mass of medicine split into over 100 small droplets. He tapped a jade ring on his finger, and 100 small glass vials cluttered the floor. With another wave of his hand, the medicine settled perfectly into each bottle. Yao Lao picked up one vial and tossed it to Xiaoyan.
Congratulations.
He said,
Your first success!
Xiaoyan caught the bottle and stared at the dark red liquid inside. It wasn't perfectly clear, but it was his. A surge of pride warmed his chest.
I guess that makes me an alchemist.